Now, this is college football game night.
Ducks, Beavers, Raiders, oh my. Welcome back into week 3 of the college game night where we talk college football and you get to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm Brett Taylor. That's Olivia Cleary making her official debut on the show after a full night of high school football just the prior evening. Olivia, I got to know, how you holding up? It was a long day yesterday for you.
It was a long day yesterday, a little tired, but football energizes you a little bit.
It really does just that. There's nothing like college football to wake you up bright and early in the morning, especially what some of those Duck fans were getting to experience earlier this morning with that early morning kickoff. Oregon on the road for what would have been a 9 a.m. kickoff here at home, 11 a.m. over in Evanston, Illinois, for the team's first Big Ten meeting of the season against Northwestern. Oregon a little sluggish offensively in the first, but the defense eyes wide open. Bryce Betcher reading the quarterback like a book on a Sunday evening. His second interception of his collegiate career puts the Ducks in great field position, and then a couple plays later, it's Dante Moore with the misdirection and then the pitch to Jalen Lamar, walk-in touchdown for the Ducks, and Oregon is starting to click. Second quarter, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a freight train. Mateo Uiagalelei, dog pile, third sack of the season for the junior, who is well on his way to a career year. Final seconds of the first half, it's Moore back in shotgun, plenty of time in the pocket, and gonna find his man, Kenyon Sadiq, 24 yards into the end zone, and the shutout is on in Evanston for the Ducks. Well, it wasn't the dominant first half Duck fans have gotten accustomed to seeing over the last 2 weeks with the scoreboard running up. It was still a very dominant first half, nevertheless, Olivia.
Oh, no doubt. Dante Moore, once again, extremely efficient from the field. 13 of 16, 125 yards, and the last-second touchdown to Kenyon Sadiq at the end of the first half. An impressive drive there by the Ducks to close out the first 2 quarters.
Oregon outgained Northwestern 194-52 in the first half, but the stat that impressed me the most, Liv, 0 penalties. Dan Lanning said earlier this week he wanted to see that get cleaned up, and the Ducks did just that. He's got to be happy with a clean first half, but this is still a game from far from being over. Dan Lanning knows it, but you know who doesn't know it, Liv?
Who?
De'Aaron Hill Jr. Look at him go. First offensive possession, and he is off to the races, right down the right field sideline. Ain't nobody gonna catch him. The Ducks have so many aces up their sleeves this season. 66 yards to the end zone, and Oregon starts out exactly how it wanted to out of the half, both on offense and on defense. It's a field day for the linebacker corps. Jerry Mixon, this man loves to catch the football. 2 picks in 2 games. Don't underestimate the 6'2", 240 linebacker. He's got some speed. Ducks take on over, and moments later, it's the freshman Jordan Davison back in the end zone for his 5th tutty of the season. Not sure what the freshman record is, but this kid is well on his way to breaking it. So all Oregon and the team's first road game of the 2025 season, the final 34-14 Ducks. Oregon, once again, dominant on the ground game, averaging nearly 6 yards a carry, and the defense forcing multiple turnovers and holding the Wildcats to under 3 yards a carry prior to the last second 79-yard score by Northwestern on the ground. I do want to mention that. The Ducks do exactly what they needed to do, but after the game, head coach Dan Lanning still looking for more ways that the team can get better.
Yeah, we got to create critical moments for everybody on our team. And we talk about strength in numbers. Like, if you touch the field, we have an expectation and a standard. So for us, like, let's continue to figure out how many guys can play winning football for us, because you never know when you have to count on somebody, right, in those situations. Ultimately, regardless of the position, you saw a lot of guys out there play again for us. That's always going to be the goal, right? And we got to make sure that when we get people in, that they're playing to the standard we expect.
So we knew Oregon was going to most likely win this game, Olivia. It took them a little bit while to get rolling, but when they did, they did. Just maybe not the finish Dan Lanning wanting, the 2 touchdowns at the end. A little too late for Northwestern, but you hopefully think Oregon can clean that up.
Exactly, and I have no doubt they will. If you know Coach Dan Lanning and have been following him over the years, the philosophy is play up to his standard. In the past couple years, the Ducks have ended the season with the exception of the Rose Bowl, playing up to that standard. It's
been very impressive to watch him this season. Best winning percentage in the nation since 2023, 903 Liv. That was the stat from the Fox broadcast. Really impressive. The offense has been incredible, and while we all know that's been the case, I think what's been most impressive has been the defense. Exclude the last touchdowns from this game, obviously, right? They did happen, but even still, the defense has been impressive. And there is exactly kind of one play I do want to break down in this game that kind of stood out to me. So I'm going to take a trip over to the Piedmont. You're going to stay right here. I'm going to break this down. Let's take this trip over to the Piedmont. Wildcats in that spread formation. Betcher on the coverage on the left-hand side to the center of the field. Probably shouldn't have been able to get the pick, but his focus on that play and his understanding of what he was seeing from Preston Stone ahead of the play was able to get the job done. So let's take a closer look in before the snap. Look how focused Boettcher's eyes are. He never takes them off of the quarterback, even while moving into his zone coverage. That's what makes it easy to read, as Stone immediately looks to his first read with the crosser through the middle of the field. So let's move that play along a little bit right now in a second. Again, look at Boettcher. He never loses sight of the quarterback, immediately makes the break for the ball, and because of the coverage and the throw, Griffin Wild cannot get both of his hands up for the play. It bounces off of his left hand and then right into the lap of Boettcher. Only two things were going to happen on this play, I think, Olivia. Either Boettcher was going to get the big tackle for a third down stop, or that ball was going to fall incomplete. Instead, what he gets is a pick, and then that's what got Oregon rolling.
Yeah, and Oregon had 2 picks in this game. 4 interceptions, Brett, in the last 2 games combined. Yeah. They had 12 last season and are well on their way to breaking that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely possible for this team. But while Oregon celebrates another Big Ten win, Olivia, their 10th in a row, in fact, dating back to the regular season, Oregon State football, very much a different storyline today.
A totally different story. Heading into Lubbock, the Beavers had lost 8 of their last 9 dating back to last season, including the first 2 games of the 2025 season. And the Beavs looking to turn that around today in one of the toughest environments in all of college football. Let's head to the first quarter after the nearly 2.5-hour weather delay. Texas Tech coming out with the ball. Baron Morton fires a deep pass, and it's caught. Just an incredible play. Coy Aiken makes the catch for a 38-yard touchdown pass. Texas Tech throws the first punch. And how about another deep ball from Morton? Ooh, Oregon State's Jaleel Tucker just got burned there, and it's another Red Raider touchdown. Texas Tech looking for another big play. The ball's fired and intercepted. Skylar Thomas with the pick, and maybe, just maybe, the Beavs are starting to show some life. But just like that, the Red Raiders answer back. Jacoby Williams powering in for another touchdown, and that's how we head to the half. Texas Tech goes up 28-0 and hands the Beavers their largest deficit of the season so far.
And after a bit of a bounce back last week, Liv, a little bit of a surprise. I know Texas Tech is number 21 in the nation, but Beavers really struggling in this game, holding Oregon State to under 100 yards in the first half. Not what the Beavers wanted to see.
No, not at all. And it's not like the Red Raiders are getting lucky, Brett. They've completely shut down the run game. -3 yards rushing for the Beavs. And on top of that, Malik Murphy hasn't had much room to work either. Just 12 of 29 passing.
And then meanwhile, Texas Tech rolling 258 total in the first half, but with the ball at will in the defense, absolutely dominant in the first half.
Yeah, and let's see if they can keep that momentum going into the second half. And speaking of momentum, yet another deep ball for Texas Tech. Morton perfectly spots Terrence Carter Jr. in the back of the end zone. Another reminder of how deadly Texas Tech's air attack has been tonight. And Oregon State looking to finally get on the board. Murphy lets it fly, and it's intercepted. That's his second pick of the game, 5th of the season, and you can just see it. He just looks so defeated out there. Meanwhile, Texas Tech keeping it rolling. Cameron Dickey powers his way for another touchdown. The offensive line just parting the sea, and he walks it right in. The Beavs trying to avoid the shutout. Murphy finds Bryce Caulfield, and the Beavs finally light up the scoreboard. But at this point, the hole is just way too big to climb out of. Oregon State falls again. The final from Lubbock, 14-45. The Beavs now 0-3 to start the season for the first time since 2011. And it wasn't just one thing. It felt like it was everything. Self-inflicted mistakes, no rhythm offensively, and Texas Tech's defense was unforgiving, to say the least. The D-line completely shut down the run game. Anthony Hankerson finished with just 11 yards on 11 carries. Texas Tech built a 45-0 lead before Oregon State ever scored. Just a disappointing showing for the Beavs today.
Yeah, and I agree. We kind of expected that Oregon State would bounce back a little bit better offensively. We knew how good the defense was going to be for the Red Raiders, but I don't think anybody expected this. We knew how tough of an opponent it was going to be on the road in Lubbock, but to say that they need to stay competitive and then didn't find a rhythm, didn't execute, it was not the way that Oregon State wanted to play.
Absolutely. When execution breaks down like that, it's hard to stay in the game, especially against a team as talented and as disciplined as Texas Tech, and it doesn't get any easier down the road for the Beavs. Next week, Oregon State heads south to Eugene, where they'll take on the number 4 ranked Oregon Ducks, who have been looking dominant this season. And after that, The Beavs return home to host Houston, another undefeated team at 3-0. From there, they face Appalachian State, Wake Forest, Lafayette, and Washington State. So a really tough schedule ahead. But honestly, Brett, these next two games at Oregon in Autzen Stadium and against Houston are the toughest tests left on their schedule.
Yeah, I'm kind of wanting to pick your brain. I mean, where do we think, looking at that schedule we just saw, where can they get a win? Because right now the possibility is looking like they may start the season 0-4, potentially 0-5 with Oregon and Houston right down the road. I mean, where do you think they get a win?
I think that game right after Houston, if they keep building their offensive momentum, if things, they might suffer losses there against two talented programs, but still looking for improvement and to play up to their version of the standard.
Yeah, and hopefully, again, they'll be able to get some positivity in a couple of those games. Again, tough matchups for the Beavs moving forward with both, of course, Oregon and Houston as well. It'll be really interesting to see how they bounce back, especially after the mistakes. That's been kind of a key theme this season so far, especially just shooting themselves in the foot. Hopefully, if they can find some rhythm, get things kind of figured out a little bit, the Beavers can finally pick up their first win. I think that's going to be the biggest key to see.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for this first half. Coming up next, though, the SU Raiders enjoy the week off to improve before their top 25 meeting with Montana Tech. Plus, national highlights from all across the nation. The College Game Night Show. We'll be right back.